Other top story, a final Bills Stadium deal has been signed, sealed, and delivered to the Erie County Legislature. Its approval is the final step in a lengthy process to come to an agreement that will impact Western New Yorkers for decades to come. Now, there are hundreds of pages in the new stadium lease and all of the accompanying documents dealing with the construction, the community benefits agreement, non-relocation terms. It really is a lot to unpack, but here are some of the headlines. It is, as we've mentioned, a 30-year lease, with the project now costing $1.54 billion. The county and the state will pay $850 million of that, along with the state paying about $10 million a year to cover maintenance and operational costs. Now, in return, the Bills will invest more than $100 million into this region over the 30-year period. This is the so-called community benefits agreement that we've talked about. There's also a non-relocation agreement. In a moment, we'll talk about those terms to try to ensure that the team stays here, and we'll discuss what would happen if the Pegulas or maybe another owner tried to move. And finally, the timeline. Construction is scheduled to start in less than 2 months on June 1st, and it's supposed to be ready for the 2026 season. And joining us now here in studio is Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz. I have a feeling you're going to be sleeping a little bit better now that this deal is finalized, although you've a couple of steps left to go. But I want to start by just asking you, I mean, this has been, what, a year-long process, right? We're talking about almost $1.5 billion, much of that taxpayer money. Let's start here, if you can just tell the viewers watching, why is this a good deal for everybody who's looking right now?
Well, it's 1 year since we announced the memorandum of agreement between the parties. It's been 2 years since we started the negotiations, so this has been a long agreement. First off, it keeps the Bills in Buffalo. Since I renegotiated the last lease back in 2012 and 13, 3 teams have moved. San Diego, St. Louis, and Oakland have all lost their teams, and those are bigger markets than Buffalo. And that's the modern NFL. They want to go to a place where they can make more money. So number one, the team stays here through at least 2055. Number two, it is a really good deal for this community. Compared to other deals elsewhere, we're putting in less money as a community. There's, from Erie County's standpoint, there's no future obligation other than what we did for the construction. And we're getting community benefit agreement, the strongest community benefit agreement ever entered into with an NFL team, in which we're going to have over $100 million back into the community during the life of the lease. So we keep the team. We do an investment that's actually less than what some of the other ones have done by a percentage, and we have the strongest community benefit agreement overall. It's a win all around.
This was obviously a negotiation between the Buffalo Bills, yourself, and the state of New York. There's always give and take and compromise when there's a negotiation, especially with parties like that. Was there anything in this that you wanted that didn't make it into the final deal?
Well, you never get everything you want. The Bills didn't get everything they want. The state didn't get everything they wanted. But what we ended up is a fair deal. And having practiced law for a number of years in transactional law, representing corporations and businesses, you never get exactly what you want. You hope you come to an equitable solution that works for all. And that's what we did here. Yeah, we would have loved for the Pegulas to build the stadium on their own, but they weren't. And if we said we weren't going to give them any money to do it, they may have moved. And that's the modern NFL. So we had to come to an equitable conclusion, which was we were contributing for the construction associated with the stadium. But for the county, a lot of things that I wanted, we were able to get. We got a project labor agreement to ensure that our local workers are the workforce that's working on this project. Thereby, when they're paid, that money goes back into our economy. We got the community benefit agreement. We got the county out of the football business. Right now, the county owns the stadium. We're up to $16 million annually of how much money we put in for direct money to the Bills and what we pay for to maintain the facility. That's done. After we put this $250 million from the county in for construction, there's no more money that comes from county taxpayers. So that was a big win that I wanted and we were able to get. Yes, there was more, but you never get it all.
The state becomes the owner instead of Erie County. Obviously, keeping the team here for the long term was paramount in all of this. So when you look at the final terms of the non-relocation agreement, how ironclad is it? Because some have said after a certain period of time, if they're willing to pony up the money, money, and let's say, for instance, the Pegulas end up selling the team and somebody wants to move it. I mean, how ironclad is it, and how long are we certain the Bills will be here?
They're going to be here for 30 years, Michael. There's been some, unfortunately, incorrect information that's been put out there who say the Bills can just pay and leave. That's not how the agreement works. The agreement says they have to stay here for 30 years. If they attempt to leave, we, the county and the state, can go to a court in Buffalo, either state Supreme Court or U.S. District Court here in Buffalo, to keep them here through the injunction, a specific performance clause. What judge in Buffalo is going to say the Bills can move? If a judge did that, let's say they go in front of the judge who's the only Patriots fan in Western New York, and the judge said they can move. Then if they want to move, they still have to pay us all our money back for the first 15 years and also demolish the stadium. So basically it's this huge penalty. They'd have to spend $1 billion just to move out of here when you talk about the $850 million that was invested by the state and the county, and then the cost associated with litigating it as well as demolishing a stadium. It's very similar to the terms we had in the 2013 extension that kept the team here through the death of Mr. Wilson. I don't feel like the Pegulas are going to move. After this deal, I feel confident they're going to stay here. But I don't know if they're going to own the team for the life of the next 30 years. So we have some very strong provisions, some of the strongest you will ever see in a contract like this, that keeps the team here. And if they tried to move, we, the governments, will go to court to stop them. And then I would not want to be the judge that decides that they can move living here in Buffalo. They're here.
We were showing some of the renderings there, and we initially got just a couple, and then there have been more and more coming out, of course, subject to change. But it gives us a sense of what this stadium is going to look like. You've been so involved in this process. How would you describe it to people? I mean, it's one thing to look at an image like that. What is the stadium going to look like, and what is the experience going to be like?
It's a totally different experience. There's no doubt about that. I mean, first off, yeah, it's an open-air stadium, but the exterior is all going to be enclosed. So once you enter into the facility, you're out of the elements. So all the concourses will be enclosed. There's, of course, the screening that'll be over the roof, or like a sort of roof, which will protect a lot of the seats. Mr. Pegula wanted an open-air stadium. A lot of people are like, why is it open-air? Mr. Pegula wanted an open-air stadium. And if the owner wants an open-air stadium, and we know what it's like here, that's what we're getting. But we love our playing football in the elements here. It's not always easy, but one of the things, too, is the stadium's going to be in a different direction. So because of the way it's set up, we think it's going to have a strong blockage with regards to the wind. That's a big problem right now because it just comes in and drops. The stadium, the current facility, is basically underground. When you walk into that facility, if you're in the lower bowl, you have to walk down. This stadium is going to be going up. And then there's everything else associated with it. A lot of the things that the Bills wish they had in the current facility, especially with regards to larger, better concessions, more club areas, party decks where people don't even have to sit. They can just be on a party deck and hang out with others and watch the game. It's going to be an experience that we haven't seen in Buffalo, but if you've gone to other stadiums elsewhere, it'll be very similar to what is being built in other modern NFL stadiums.
Finally, I'm going to end with a two-part question. I want to ask you about this transportation facility that's going to be built down near the stadium. Because, we had this whole debate about why isn't it going in the city where people have access with public transportation for those who don't want to drive. We know all the crashes that happen as people are going from Orchard Park and in all directions. So it seems like that transportation hub was important. What should we know about that? And then talk to me about the time frame. 30 days now for the legislature to look at this. No indication they're not going to approve it.
Well, secondly, I believe the legislature will approve it, but they're going to take their time. They're going to review it. There's 19 documents in total.
Yep.
We were talking beforehand. One document alone is 200 pages in total for just a single document.
Read it before I went to sleep last night.
It will put you to sleep. Let's put it that way. And I spent a lot of time looking at those documents. The legislature, I hope, will approve it. I think they'll approve it, but they're going to take their time and review it, as they should. With regard to the transportation hub, the Bills, the state, and the county, even though we aren't going to be in ownership anymore, as this is moving along, we're going to be working with the NFTA to ensure that there is a location where bus traffic can come in and drop off people. And so it's not far away. They can come up, and then when they leave the game, the buses are there waiting for them, and it's a strategic transportation hub for them. There's always been discussion of rail. There is a rail line that goes nearby the current facility. There's a tremendous amount of work that would have to go into that, but at least we have the option in the future. But we know when it comes to this facility, on the footprint of the new stadium, there'll be a transportation hub which will allow people who don't otherwise have a car or are going to work at the facility, either before or after the game, they have an opportunity to take public transportation there rather than just have to drive.
Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz spent the past year, you actually say it's been about 2 years, working out this deal. I'm sure you're quite relieved. We appreciate you coming in.
I'm very glad it's over. Thanks for having me, Michael.
You bet. Thanks.